Hardest lessons I learned in the streets, how I survived pretty much my whole life. Um, a lot of people would say, this is what I say. The streets don't love you, no matter what they say, no matter how deep you think they run in your blood. When it's all said and done, you're either dead, locked up, left behind. And it's I had to learn that the hard way. Like putting being in jail, like my friends not being there. Like I had to learn the hard way. And it's why I do what I do. It's why I share the videos that I share. I want I want to share with you the hardest lessons I've learned in the streets. Something that I don't understand until I didn't understand until it was too late. If I had known this back then, I would have saved me years of pain, years of prison, and a lot of lost time. But sometimes we have to go to things to learn the hard way, and that's what I did. I spent most of my life in and out of prison. I remember being a kid in the hood and thinking I had all the answers. All the older guys told me how things worked. Loyalty is everything. The gang is your family. You're ride, you're gonna ride or die with your brothers. They'll ride with you. And I believed it. I was willing to go to war for them. I was willing to do whatever it took. Whatever it took to prove I was solid. Cost me years of prison. Years of raising my hand up and saying, "Hey, that's my gun." Fast forward a few years, I caught my first real case, and guess who was there? Nobody. Same dudes that had told me that they had my back were nowhere to be found. No letters, no money on my books, no visits, nothing. Do I have a couple of solid boys from my neighborhood that are still there? Yeah, but they're doing time just like I was. It was in that cell that I started, you know, staring and realizing that I just was another pawn, replaceable, forgotten. Sitting in that cell, just staring at the ceiling. I realized I was just another pawn, replaceable, forgotten. The biggest lie they sell you is that the streets will take care of you, that your homies will always be there. But let me tell you the truth. Your real homies, they're the ones telling you to get out. They're the ones pushing you to do better, not trapping you in the same cycle. They're the ones that are telling you, get out, learn, read, leave. The realest lesson I've learned, if you want loyalty, build it within yourself first. Be loyal to your future, not just your past. Taking me years, over 40 years to learn lessons, but I know someone is still living that life, and I ain't here to judge. I can't. But I'm here to tell you that there is another way. And if I can get out, you can too. Why I do these videos, man. Why I put so much work. I've told you guys many times I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I make a lot of mistakes still. And one of the biggest things that I used to feel guilty about was my marriage not working, failing at marriage. And we could look at it so many ways, but honestly, to tell you the truth, like my ex-wife, Bethany Savage, taught me a lot. Taught me what love was, taught me what commitment was, taught me to even respect myself as a man. I don't know why it didn't work. Uh, I know that I'm a different man because of her. Um, I just know I'm different. I'm not out there chasing girls no more. I'm happy and content with who I am, who I'm becoming, and just what God is doing in my life. The way I'm maturing, the way I'm growing, getting to meet my grandchild, being in my daughter's lives. It's I can't say it didn't hurt me when we separated because it did. It did, but I also know that God has a plan for her. God has a plan for me, and sometimes it's not what we want. Uh, Even though we desire certain things, sometimes it's not in our best interest. God knows what He has in store, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. Being transparent and trying to, I guess you could say, lead by example. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy to try and learn life in a matter of years. 3 years ago when I got on my knees, my whole life got turned upside down. I learned what empathy was. I learned what love was. I learned what everything was like in one just a hit. And it's why I love talking about God. It's why I love preaching. Not preaching because I don't try to shove it down nobody's throat. My biggest thing is just like, if you want to know why I'm smiling so much, why I'm happy, why I'm living life to the fullest, it's because I have Jesus in my heart, and I've learned a lot of basic skills from reading the Bible and from my life in prison, and just everything that I've been through. Um, I could sit here and most people won't believe me, but like life is good. Life is what it is, and I don't know why I got dealt the hand that I got dealt, but because of that, I get to do what I do today. And not too many people are privileged to put the seed in the ground and water it and watch it grow and even pick it, and the whole process from the beginning to the end. And I feel that I get to watch people grow, people go on their own, people just, I get to see God working, and I get to see it not only through me but through other people in my life and people that I'm working with. It's been interesting. It's been interesting stepping into all these prisons, from Florida to Texas to Utah, Colorado, California, Illinois. It's been an interesting ride, but I know it's all been part of my plan that God's had for me since the beginning. And do I get sad and I still think about my past sometimes? Yeah, I do. I think about my childhood. I think about how much I saw my mom suffer. I think about sisters, um, my family. Today was interesting because I take everything as a lesson, and I was out with my dog today, and I hate going to the park. I don't know why. And my dog loves going to the park. Bear, he loves going to play fetch, and I hate being there. I don't know if it's the impatience or what, but today I sat there and I played with him, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, Why is it? Why is it that I hate going to the park? And I knew the answer. It's because I was never taken to the park, so I have like a love and hate relationship with it because I never got to do that as a kid. I got to do it as a teenager when I was gangbanging, hanging out at the park, just up to no good. But I never got taken there by a parent to play. Um, so I told myself, man, I'm gonna, even force myself to do it like with my grandchild, my baby. She's gonna want to play in the playground. She's gonna want to do things, and these are all things that has taken me time to learn about myself. Self-discovery, knowing my triggers, knowing what makes me happy, what makes me sad. I just started working out again, and I've noticed the change in mood in me. I hadn't worked out in months. I got injured, and a part of me was really kind of depressed because like it's something that's always been a part of me. It's been my identity for the longest. I started working out when I was 9 years old. I used to stay up at night doing push-ups and sit-ups by the hundreds. I wanted to be big and strong because, my whole life, I was constantly getting picked on. I was constantly getting beat. I was constantly having to fight for my life. From the age of 4 on up, every day was a fight. Every day I was either fighting, wrestling, or running. And it was for life. And you wonder, like, why, like, my flight and fight mode was on my whole life. I know that there's a lot of men out there that have been through similar things like me, that prefer to not talk about it, prefer to not be emotional about it. But, this is me being transparent, man. This is me sharing my life, my heart, my soul, my mind. This is me pretty much showing you what wrong and strong is. Like I created this for men, women, kids, anybody that's been through that rough road, through that brokenness, through that loss of hope, through that guilt, that shame. Because if you really think about it, those are the big things that make you use drugs and do things that you wouldn't do. I was telling someone the other day, it was crazy for me to think that I didn't have no morals in my life, that I would lie just to lie, that I would scheme just to scheme, that I would have one night stands just to have them. We go through life thinking that we know everything because we've been hurt. So that wall gets higher and higher and higher and higher. And, you know why we know so much? Because we're the only one behind that wall. Nobody could give us advice. Nobody could tell us right or wrong. Nobody knows nothing but us. I've had crucial moments in my life where like I was afraid to death of even just walking into that church where I knew it was going to be all white people. I was so scared of something different. Or walking to a restaurant that's not in the hood that people are going to turn around and look at me when I walk in. My whole life, I've been afraid of things. But I've always wore a mask. I always hid it, and I would, I would be in that line to get in that roller coaster, knowing that I was terrified and frightened about getting on, but I would sit there and not let nobody know, and I would get on there, even though I was pooping in my pants, but I would get on there and go. And that's something I think that has been embedded into me because of my life, because of what happened to me as a kid, the molestation, the drownings, being locked in that room. Like I I became a survivor. I became, when they used to lock the A team in that room and they used to build something and break out. That's how I felt like happened to me, because when he would lock me in that room, my imagination, yeah, at first I was terrified. At first, I would cry and look under the door, and it was very uncomfortable until I got comfortable being in the dark. Once I got comfortable, my imagination ran wild, because like now I got to play a game while I was in there of me like being someone else, like a ninja. And it was now that I sit here and I think about just how I was as a kid, um there was a time where we were getting abused really bad, me and my sister, like bad. And I try to protect my sister so much, especially my little sister. And it's the reason why, like, I started, like, I guess you could say I wanted to become dangerous. I remember my grandparents buying me this jogging suit that was like camouflage for the army. I remember that I broke a stick off a tree in the back and I started practicing like being a sniper. And I would aim from the tree to the house for my uncle. I wanted to hurt him the way he had hurt me, and the way he had hurt my sister. And from there on, I started just just going through a crazy. I guess you could say my mental health had really taken off at a very young age, because by the time I got involved with the gangs in Chicago, and know, all the moving around, I was people people don't realize is that Chicago is very, very violent. Like, a lot of people get murdered over it. And there was times, someone asked me to make a video about surviving Cicero, and there was times where I got chased by cars, I got chased by gang members, running for my life, getting shot at, hearing the bullets, zoom by. It was a crazy life. A lot of mental health like damage. I don't know where I was going with that. Sometimes I sit here and I record, because just straight from the heart, straight my emotions, what I'm going through. Right now, there's a lot going on right now with uh program, the prisons, the branch, just a lot of stuff going on. But I'm making the transition from leaving the gym to being at the recording studio 24/7, and you know uh, switching everything to online. Pretty much. I can't be in one place no more. I have to move around. A lot of traveling is coming up for different prisons. Um, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. God is good. Everything I'm doing, everything I'm about to do, has been by the grace of God. It's not me. Uh, I'm ready for a different chapter in my life where I'm more mature. I'm more aware of what I'm doing, where I'm heading in my life, and we'll see what God has in store for me. And you know, um, I really hope that you guys tune in, watch, recommend this, because what's happening right now with my program, my USP Match program, is that I'm working with inmates while they're inside, through mail, through the tablets. They have phones now that have cameras now, so it's like Zoom. And that's why I created that other room, to have that Zoom in there, so I could actually record when I'm talking to the guys that I'm working with. But I'm also working with their families, so they know what to expect or what their family members are going with, and when they're coming home, to integrate them, or if you have a family member that's never coming home, how you can support them and how you can help them. It's why I created that program, man, because there wasn't a 101 or dummies on how to support your loved one while he's in prison, or how to do time while you're you know uh in prison. The juveniles are my biggest concern right now, because those kids are getting ready to do adult time, and they have to learn how to do that before they get sent there. And it's been really great to work with families, work with the kids, work with the men, the women, even the mental health patients at the Aspen Yard. It's been I've had kind of like a taste of Maricopa Reentry Yard is like a lot of the drug addicts. Aspen Yard is a lot of the mental health. The Lumley Yard at the women's at Perryville, Lewis, Florence. I mean, it's been a trip. It's been a trip. Never in my life would have ever thought that I was gonna be a teacher. That's for sure. God has really, really showed off, and He showed me where everything is going. I'm also partnering up with ASU on a class for men, and it's an organization that works with human trafficking and how to put a stop to that. And it's a class that I'm gonna be very involved with. And man, I mean, what else can I say? It's what I'm doing now. A lot of people want to focus on the old prison stories, and yeah, I'm gonna share that, and I will, keep telling my stories of. It's how we connect. It's not about glorifying or nothing. It's just sharing the stories so you guys can see that I'm just like you. I've been through some of the things you've been through. I've used some of the drugs you've used. I've done some of the time you've done. I've messed up just like you. And that's why I share. That's why I'm transparent. That's why I'm open with, even when I fail. A lot of people have been asking me, are you still with Bethany? Are you divorced? But yes, we separated. And I could choose to not share, but I want to be transparent, because I want you guys to see the real JC, the one that's walking the walk, the one that's walking the yard, the one that Jesus gave a heart transplant 3 years ago. Not perfect, and we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking to get a little bit better every day. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's showing up even when you don't want to. Hey, my name's JC. I am Wrong to Strong. Subscribe, share, tell your family, loved one, hey, walk the yard with me and you'll see.